Because these are useful natural expressions that I used in my natural language. Of course, you can find a printout of these words at sweedacademy.com/podcast. But let's start. Number one, the first thing you'll hear, well, you'll hear a lot of things, but the first thing I highlight is moving along. Moving along. It means just to progress something, to make something continue to go, right? We might say, move it along, move along, nothing to see here. But in the show, I said, we're just moving along here, aren't we? We're already in episode 5. Moving along. Number 2, to turn somebody off. When you turn somebody off, it just means that you stop listening to them. Before you turn me off here, and then I said whatever I said, right? So don't turn me off here. Right? It's very flexible, but to turn somebody off is to stop listening. You turn off your ears. Next, I find it a bit, and I put this here because it's a very natural thing. It's kind of like a fluency builder in a way. It's a way to express your fluency. Well, it's a way to express your feeling or your opinion about something, but to do it fluently, right? I find it a bit, and then follow it with an adjective. I find it a bit odd. I find it a bit strange. I find it a bit scary. It's typically with negative. Let me think. I find it a bit fun. That sounds a little weird, right? I find it a bit, and then normally like kind of negative adjectives. I guess you could say, I found it a bit fun, and then it'd be a little fun. Anyway, next. You get one shot, one crack at something. That means you only get one chance, right? And this is more for like more advanced speakers to use. Of course, if you're a basic beginner, then use it too. Feel free. In some listening exams, you only get one shot. You get one chance at it. You only get one time to listen to it, right? One shot or one crack at something. Next. Well, for one, again, this is a fluency builder plus a way to begin a list of important information. Well, for one, blah, blah, blah. For two, blah, 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 right? You're listing things. But that well there really improves the fluency. And if you're a purple belt student, this is the kind of thing that you'd want to add to make yourself sound better to advance. Also, if you're a blue belt student, adding these things will help you advance. Next, to get lost. When you're telling a story or when you're talking about something and you get lost, you just lose your place and you forget what you were talking about, or you forget what you're listening and you lose your spot. To get lost. Next, to pick something out or to pick out something, it's to notice something. In this context, it was to notice something or to choose it. So don't try to pick out every single word. It means don't try to focus on every single word and know every single word that they say. To pick out. And this is separable. To pick something out or to pick out something. Next, if you make a mental note of something, it means that you notice something and you make an effort to remember it, right? Make a mental note that I have to pick up the milk when I come home. And this again is like for more of like a purple belt to use it and really advance to a brown. Also, here and there. When you do something here and there, it's just another fluent way to say occasionally, right? You probably miss some words here and there, but overall you get the message. That's what I said in the show. Here and there. Next, to fill in the blanks, that's to assume information that you missed, right? If Let's say it's around dinner time and you know your friends are hungry and they say, "Where do you want to go to?" And then you miss the final word. You can kind of fill in the blank and assume that they said, "Where do you want to go to eat?" Right? It's where you fill in missing information. Next, to miss the forest for the trees, I explained this in the podcast. To miss the big picture of something because you're focused on something small. And this is an idiom to use, right? To miss the forest for the trees. Don't miss the forest for the trees. Next, to hang out. To hang out just means to spend time with your friends. This is a very common way to say to spend time with your friends. I hear it a lot. I hear a lot of students say, I like to meet my friends. I like to meet with my friends. There are all sorts of different versions. Those are not necessarily wrong, but hang out is a better way. Hang out with my friends. Hang out with my family. Hang out with somebody. And step back and think. If you step back and think, again, another purple belt expression maybe. To step back and think about something means to pause, stop what you're doing, and give it another thought, right? Think about it. Okay, so those are the expressions that I'd like to highlight from this episode. If you need to listen to it again, go back and listen to it again. The actual episode was about, 15 minutes or so. You can go back, listen for these expressions, and see them in context. That's a great way to learn how to use vocabulary. Okay, thank you for listening. Thank you for spending time with me. It's always appreciated. Remember, whenever you're listening to this, give it a like or a heart or a comment. Send me a comment with questions